Okay, now I'll let you
Let's talk.
take over.
No. You're good. And let's kind of segue that into what your passion is. And I know, but I need everyone else to hear and know that your passion is for opioid addiction. Tell us why that's an interest to you and why you gravitate to opioid addiction.
Well, I started at the beginning and I said I always took care of people. My grandmother, my grandfather, my mom, their friends. When I didn't know what they were doing, it was like, oh, y'all always sick. But then as I got older and I got into the nursing aspect of it, it's like, I remember those pills, the names. Like, I
Mm.
remember the name.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, as my husband would tell me, my grandmother would say, forget my Valium. And it's like, well, what the deuces? What is this? What is it going to do for you?
Hmm.
So I'm seeing this opioid addiction, when it's so unequal.
Hmm.
So when we had crack,
Hmm.
everybody went to jail. Okay.
Yeah.
Mostly everybody that went to jail was of color.
Right.
Now we got this opioid addiction.
Hmm.
Now we need help.
Wow.
It's like, but we needed help back then when we was buying the crack, but you put us in jail. Some
Hmm.
people are still in jail,
Yeah.
but because of now meth and heroin and all of that stuff out there, that's a white man's drug. Statistically, it's a white man's drug. We get Narcan in the house. So if they overdose, you can give them a shot and call it a day, bring them back, and then you're going to get them help. But why couldn't we get help back then? The help that you intentionally did, you set up the crack houses on the corners in African American neighborhoods. You had the taverns on every corner in African American neighborhoods. But now we got to get them help. It's like, no, the disparity is still there. Why are we getting help? Why is it such a big thing now that we got to have help?
Yeah.
So with my family, with my people that I love, they were on those pills. I didn't know it at that time. But as I got older and more involved into healthcare,
Hmm.
because mental health encompasses a lot of things,
Yeah.
not just that you are crazy in singers that's no longer,
Right.
but mental health is every day that you look. I being a nurse in behavior health and being a nurse in managed care, I'm going over people's medications with them every day. I'm like, well, how often are you taking that? Or I get a phone call, well, Cora, I can't get this pill. Well, you're drug seeking, you're not gonna get it.
Gotcha.
So it's those things. It's like it's just what's been around me.
Hmm.
And I'm like I said, I'm just trying to make a difference one step at a time. And that's what I can do. If I don't make a difference to anybody but one person, I'm a success.
Wow. Wow. That's awesome. So, with that, I also know that that leads to something that you aspire to do, and it's called Just 90. Speak to us about Just 90.
So Just 90 is a business that I'm doing, and it is going to be a training center where we can just talk about like things like this. We can have some seminars. We can talk about mental health. We can talk about um, what happens. Like, is there something we need that we're not getting in our community? We can talk about just different things. Like I told Kevin, I was becoming a CPR instructor, and I'm excited about that
Hmm.
because you know what? That's one more certification under my belt. Nobody may be excited, but I am.
Right.
Um, it's certain things I want to be. I want to be like, and I said this the other night, like Taraji Henson. Um, her dad, I believe, has mental illness or had mental illness. I want people to come and pay to see me just like them because I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I may not look like her and I ain't trying to, but I know my stuff.
Yeah.
And what I don't know, I know how to network. Evan and I have networked together forever.
Yeah. We have.
And, I don't have to do it all. Bill Gates didn't do everything with Microsoft. He had people helping him out.
Yeah.
So I should be able to do that too. And 90, that number means compassion, humanitarianism, and justice.
Gotcha.
Make sure everything is equal and right. And that's what I want to do, is make sure that everything is equal and right, no matter how we do it, in a sense of as long as it's legal.
Of
It
course.
is,
Of
yeah,
course.
but it's equal, it's right. That's what I want to do. So that's how Just 90 came. And I know it's a different name, but God gave it to me, and that's what I'm running with.
All right. I hear that. So Just 90 is more or less a training facility. It's probably, you can say, a one-stop shop for any type of training when it comes to social justice, mental health, um what else? Community
Yes.
activism, stuff like that.
Yes. And I would love to go into the corporation, and I know Evan and I have spoken about this, how we can go in and say, you know what, how did you how do you think that you're responding to this incident, that incident? How do you think it's right? But one of the other things that we talked about is that before we can do that, we have to understand our own racial prejudices.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I can't go into somewhere and say, well, no, I can give them examples all day long, but if I still have a racial prejudice or bias or something, I'm not going to be successful. So before I can teach someone else something, I have to be clean in my own thought.
Wow. Yeah, I like that. I think that's one of the things that Jaleel and I talked about last episode, is that um you have to start to explore who you are as a person,
Mm-hmm.
because there are some things that you might not know about yourself.
Right.
And the worst thing to happen is for it to manifest itself when you're the least expecting it, or when you're at a place where you don't feel comfortable of having that one thing come out, and you become embarrassed. So,
Mm-hmm.
exploring ourselves, knowing our prejudice, what you were saying, is that really what keeps us true to who we are as a person. And if you can convey that to someone that is in your circle or in your
Mm-hmm.
training, then I think authentic people always win.
Mm-hmm.
No one wants a fake person. No one wants to
Right.
be around people that pretend. I want someone that is real.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that I tell my clients when I first meet them, is that you're not going to get a therapist to say, "Hey, lay down on the couch and I'm going to ask you all these questions." You're not going to get a therapist that comes in with a suit and a tie. I might come in with a hoodie on. I may come in with some Timberland boots on. Whatever it is, I want to be able to relate to people on a relatable level.
Right.
Wherever you are, that's where I want to relate to. And so I see that in Just 90 is the fact that you're trying to meet people where they are and give
Yes.
them those resources that they need. Because believe it or not, we don't have enough resources. We can't have enough
Mm-hmm.
resources. We need an overflow of resources in our communities. We have a lot of young kids now that are going to bed hungry, that
Yes.
don't have a decent bed to lay in. And I even remember as a kid, even growing up in my grandmother's house, until she got to a certain point, we didn't have nice things.
Mm-hmm.
Beds may have been worn down a little bit, but she made sure that she washed sheets every week. She made sure we didn't sit on the bed. She took care of her stuff. And then when it got to the point where we can afford those things, she got those things. But it has to start somewhere. And people like you, Jaleel, and myself are trying to bring awareness to all these discrepancies in our community. So I really, Cora, I thank you for really joining us today, and I thank you for your contributions, your dedication to nursing and to mental health. I truly appreciate you as a friend, as a colleague, as a professional, and I really truly thank you for joining us on today. Is before we get out of here, first I want to say again, Happy Mother's Day to you. But before we get out of here, is there anything that you would like to leave with the people? Something that you may want to say to them, or you just want to put out some information? I want to give you the time right now to kind of do so.
I would just say to all people, just smile and keep it moving. Um, you can't control everything. You shouldn't try to. You smile and keep it moving. Don't forget where your help comes from. And it's going to be a better day tomorrow.
Wow, thank you. Thank you. Jaleel, you got anything to say before we get out of here, man?
No, I just want to thank Miss Cora for coming on and joining us. Incredible story. So I appreciate you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Again. And as I always say, we have the ability to change our circumstances. Only thing we have to do is focus on what we can control. So please remember that the control is in your hands. Don't give it to anyone. Don't allow anyone to take advantage of you. So thank you again for joining us on Mentality Unchained. Please subscribe to the Mentality Unchained podcast.